Yeah, you too.
Thanks, man. Oh, shit. I got to turn off the music. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Backstage Pass. I am your host, Vince Edwards. You may know me from Sound Image Productions. I also have a couple closed roadie groups on Facebook, one called Death by Loadout, another one called The Backstage Pass. Come check us out. Yeah, once in a while I get stuck in my own thing. This evening, thanks for coming in, by the way. We have a good show for you. This evening, I got my one and only dear good friend, loudspeaker design legend, and general all-around badass, Bernie Broderick. How are you doing, brother?
You said your one and only good friend. I just want to mark that. I want
It'd
to mark
be so
that
much
in time,
easier if I could get it down to that. I tell
right? My one and only good
you.
friend.
My life, I think, would just improve
He
across
doesn't
the
mean
board.
it. He doesn't mean it, folks. He does not mean it.
I have a couple other friends. They tell me, but you know, it's a constant daily work in progress. Looks like we got a bunch of people showing up. Oh my God, it's the love of my life, the one and only Jackie Canterbury. I'm so crazy about her. Sue Kearney called me, and I was busy in a meeting. I haven't had a chance to call her back. I'll have to do that after the show. Scott Cheney, good evening this evening, sir. And Tony Lewis, the one and only, the LD from Muskogee. Right on, guys. We're great. It's super good to have you. Hi, Dan. Thanks for tuning in. Now, you got your little list?
I got all kinds of lists in
Will
here.
you cut through this list with me? I want to trust a couple of the things on. Talk to me, baby. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm so glad to see you went down and had fun, represented, hung out with some of the guys at NAMM. I know that was a little underattended, but I bet you made good use of it.
Yeah, I mean, I just I just went down dragging bags around with me, which was it's kind of the way to do it, honestly, because people, you just bump into people.
Yeah.
You can't anticipate every single person. Sure, I had some planned meetings that I had to do. Sure. But mostly I'm just free form. I'm just walking around and stuff. And it was actually it was a pivotal moment because it was the very first time that Curie was shown in public. Everybody who's bought one up to this point has just been sight unseen. They haven't, you know what I mean? Like they just buy it from me and they send it to them, and that's the first time that they actually get to hold it or whatever. And this is the very first time I was pulling it out and showing it to people. And I had at least 2 people actually see me with the case and go, "Hey, you're that guy with the Curie thing."
Really?
Yeah. And I had to stop and show it to them and stuff like that. And so that was a lot of fun. Spent a couple of days, or a good day and a half with Dirk Schubert.
Good.
After NAMM, went up and it's funny because the type of business we do together sometimes is I'm putting parts on his Ducati for him. Yeah, that's me, right? That's Mr. Class A businessman. I go to one of the premier owners, sound company owners in the country,
Super Systems Group,
and I'm hanging out just to put parts on his bike.
Dude, it's Dirk Schubert. If he said, "Come over and help me," clean up the cat litter,
the
I'd
dog
help
poop.
him.
The dog poop.
Yeah, right. Like seriously, I mean,
No,
there's
totally.
a few guys in the game. Jim Gamble called up and said, "Hey, I want you to come by." I'm just okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you need.
Give me a hand with the plumbing kind of thing.
Right,
Whatever.
right. Like seriously. And Dirk Schubert is one of those.
And he is totally one of those guys.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
And then fired back here, and then 6 hours later was on a plane to Vegas.
I saw that.
Where I spent the last 2 days at the Infocom show, and then flew back here and got back an hour ago.
How was that attended, by the way?
Much better.
Yeah?
Much better. Yeah. I think NAMM screwed the pooch because they
Went
just
too late.
They just pushed it right up next to Infocom,
Yeah.
and manufacturers only have so much money.
That's right.
And personnel and time, and a lot of them just made the judgment call. We're just not going. And it's sad because the last NAMM show was spectacular before the pandemic kicked in.
That's right.
It was
The one that was supposed to follow that last one was supposed to be ginormous,
Right,
remember?
right,
I mean, but that was supposed to be a huge year for us. 2020 was supposed to be like over
Yeah.
all the predictors, Polestar, everybody was saying, "Oh, we're going to put more asses in seats this year than we ever have. We're all going to be busy up to their gills," and then this nonsense happened.
2020 was supposed to be amazing, but in hindsight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just let that one stew for a
The ones that get it. The ones that don't.
There you go. Just keep
it's
on.
all cool, man.
Just keep on going. Just keep on going.
I'm glad you're home. I know you've been traveling quite a bit, and I'm glad you made it back safe.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, there's something special that I didn't know we missed so much. seeing all of the old colleagues and people and being able to shake hands and give them hugs and just, the scene. They've aged, like, I mean, 2.5, 3 years, man, you could see a change in people.
But I feel like this, especially at our age, our aging is more progressive. So that 2 years is more like when we were 40, that's like 5 years.
Yeah, it's like an exponential.
Yeah, it's a different curve.
Yeah. Less hair,
I'm
more
going
gray.
bald and gray
and
grumpier by the minute. It's extraordinary.
But everybody seemed really happy and really thrilled to be back out doing what it is they understand, which is hustle.
Yeah, that's
So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked like some of the pictures you sent back and some of the stuff Chris was putting up, Chris Leonard and my brother. It looked like you guys were having a good time.
Chris was fantastic. Chris found me like in a heartbeat. I think he sought me out or something, and we had never met before.
How did he get that? How did he get the loudspeaker gig? Did they just pull him in at the last minute?
I don't know. I was doing it before. For the big arena thing. Now it was
considerably smaller. I saw
considerably smaller, and I think that Chris. He's doing stuff with Live Sound Magazine now, like in tandem, like they're doing things together.
He is.
So it only makes sense to kind of keep that alliance and show and to have that forward facing. So. I was just thrilled to see Keith Clark and all the team and stuff like that. It was just great. It was fantastic.
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah. And so you had the great Jim Yakubuski
last week.
Last week.
The Yak on, the one and only Yak, got to be one of the sweetest, caringest, nicest guys in the business.
Goddamn Canadians.
In my opinion, one of the smoothest, coolest front of house engineers. I mean, his credits speak for themselves. Aerosmith, Kiss, some of the bands that he's worked with. Van Halen, I think, is probably the one that stands out the most for Jakubowski.
Yep.
Jim was a sweetheart. I needed to call one in because we were so slammed last week. I just couldn't do a show. So I reached out to Jim and said, did he mind if I redid his show because I had such a great time with him on that one.
Yeah.
And he said, you just do that, young man. You go and do your best. So he's just a sweetie, and I love the guy. And so thank you, Jim, for letting us re-air your episode. That was sweet.
For sure. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
We want to do a shout-out to Kyle. I got to apologize because everybody on there, that's actually me doing the...
Oh, yeah, he's Kyle today. I don't know why, but he is.
Hijacked Kyle's account. Well, I can't even remember a password right now. I'm so messed up from all the running around. So it came up as Kyle. It was Kyle it is. But we want to send a legitimate shout out to Kyle with Brian Wilson right now out touring.
We lost. Bernie fills in. Bernie is the godfather. Him and Charlie Zaricki of this show. Kyle Thomas, our co-host, is out on tour for us with the great Brian Wilson.
Yep.
And we miss him, and we hope he's having fun. I know he had to do some stuff with the Usher tour as well, and I believe also the Lana. No, not Lana. Help me with this one. Lauryn Hill, the Lauryn Hill tour.
Lauryn Hill.
So we got stuff all over the place, and we got our guys putting out fires and making good things happen. So sometimes we just, we're back in the swing of things. We started this during COVID, so we had a lot of freedom, and it got real normal for us to just sit our asses down and do a show on Thursdays, and with very little effort and with very little, conflicting issues or restrictions or problems. And now we're starting to feel that a little more.
Feel the pinch. Yeah.
I mentioned to our guest tonight, we were pushing out a shitload of shows for this weekend. We were working right to this minute. There's people in the shop as we speak working.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate our guests coming on, you making yourself available. My crew, that's Mikey and Zach, who are switching and producing and doing the RF and audio for us right now and lighting. Thank you guys for doing this. It's been a little bit of a struggle pulling this together, but we'll keep trying our best, and when we can, we'll be here, and when we can't, you'll see a rerun.
There you go.
And we'll just make it the best
When do you expect syndication, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in talk with the people over at Axis.
Right. Yeah.
It ain't like that, man. They're too smart. I cuss too much, and I'm too mean, and I don't think they'll have me.
I know you wanted to send a sentiment out about Ashley Groom.
Ash Groom. So Ashley Groom is, they call him the gentle giant. Now, Ash Groom, if you don't know.
You know him.
If you don't, you should. You've seen him. If you've been to an Iron Maiden concert, he was the guy in the big Eddie suit that came out with the sword and tried to take off Bruce Dickinson's head.
Yeah.
That was Ash Groom, guys. He died this week, and it's super sad. He was an extraordinary human being. Like we said, he was known as Ash. He was also known as the Gentle Giant. He was a sweetheart of a man. He got about 19 years with the great Iron Maiden, Up the Irons. And they're hurting over there. Our good friends who do front of house and monitors for them, which, of course, is the great Ken Pooch Van Durden and Kevin Tater Walsh. we got to send out love to them. They're very close with him. They're on the road right now. There's a great Iron Maiden, and that's a huge, huge loss for our industry, his family, and that band. So we send out all of our love and hope for a calmer, peaceful day, and we miss him too.
Yeah.
So that's a big loss for us.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a hulk of a man, and he was quiet and sweet, and he could do anything on that crew. Largely known as their set carpenter, but really what he was a big, giant hulk of a man that pushed that show up every damn night and pulled it back down. And in between, he ran out there and entertained people as the great Eddie, the Iron Man.
But who wouldn't do it if asked? You know what I mean?
Right,
Could you play Eddie tonight?
Yeah. I mean, pretty sweet spot. He did live the dream. He lived it well. And Lord knows, he went out with a lot of stories to tell. So we don't feel sorry in that way, but he'll be missed.
Yeah, he'll be missed for sure.
And it's a hit. So, and he was a little too young to go. So, again, love out to the Maiden crew and the Maiden band and all people that love Maiden, because there's a big part of them. They're not with them tonight.
That's right. Yeah. So our boy, our good friend Rick Allen, pumping it up. It's coming now.
Yeah.
They did the show at the Roxy.
Yes, that was really good.
It's on YouTube.
Sirius did it. I watched it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but yeah, he came.
Damn.
I'm walking out the shop the other morning trying to work out some trucking thing. I don't know, but it was early. It was like 9:30 in the morning, and I hadn't even opened the gates, but somehow they were open. I think John had come in, and he rolled up, and Rick Allen rolled up. And I forgot he needed a haze machine for me for a video they were doing. Yeah. And he wanted to put some haze on it. And he rolled up, and so I kind of caught him out of the corner of my eye, and we ended up having a nice morning. He's just such a sweet guy. You know this. You've designed his whole home stereo and his studio stuff. Yeah. And it's always a treat to see him. But it was nice to see him being really excited. Him and his band are doing really well. They just had finished up rehearsals.
Def Leppard, in case anybody.
Oh, Def Leppard, right. The drummer for Def Leppard was who we're talking about. Yeah. And he was just here a couple days ago, and he's just a lovely hang. He's a sweet guy. We got him all outfitted so he can go do what he wanted to do with his gear, and we ended up having a lovely coffee. But it was just getting into his head for a minute and seeing him see a 58-year-old man get ready to go do 40 dates.
Yeah, with Motley Crue.
With the crew, and Poison. So, he's all tooled up and ready to go for it. So I'm happy for him and excited, and hope he has fun. When he gets back, he'll come and sit down with us and tell us all about it.
But check it out. I mean, Sirius XM show it's on YouTube, and I was like, man,
turned out really good.
They're in a club, you know, and it's just like, that's the shit.
Yeah, it was surprising. I thought it went really well for that rum.
The new album's kicking butt.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people got good feelings about it. I was listening to Phil talk about it, their guitarist, and Phil was like, we didn't even plan to record or anything. We got together to knuckle around, do some rehearsals before we were banging stuff out. Then that I guess, what is it, something Halo? Yeah. I forget. I'm sorry, guys, but I love you, but I'm just not good that way. But their newest album, they're really behind it. They feel really strong about it. That's one of the best things they've ever done. And I highly recommend you check it out. They'll be out supporting it here in about a month at every major and Normo dome and between here and fucking God's green earth. Yeah, so they're going to put in the time, and you guys can go see them and have a lot of fun. It'd be a great show. I think that show in particular, something that a lot of people had been very stoked up to go see in 2020. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty well sold in 2020. So I can imagine they're just chomping at the bit. Oh. And, those bands, again, it's Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, Joan Jett. They're going to peel the roofs off of whatever place they go into. You guys know, if you've seen any one of them stand alone, let alone all together, those are bands that know how to bring it. And
this is something you don't do on the show very often. I'm going to do it for you.
Tell me.
I'm going to send out a poll.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a poll.
Do a poll, Bella.
Who is the actual headliner?
I know who I'd vote.
Is it Def Leppard or is it Motley Crue?
I'm not gonna.
Now you can say Poison if you want.
Don't say that. Don't be
just
stupid.
Don't say that.
Waste the poll.
Yeah, don't
waste the poll. Come on now. All right.
Is it Def Leppard
or
with
Motley
their
Crue?
Legacy of just the kick-ass band production, all that, but an entire album of hits, or is it the
2 albums really?
The Bad Boys that are coming? They're coming. It's going to be a lot of pyro. It's going to be a lot of flamethrowers. All right,
I'm going to not take part in this poll because
we can't taint it.
I have a dog in this fight, so I'm going to not. I'm not going to. I think I know. We both know who actually is going to head this thing, but who should? Yeah. That's debatable. They'll work it out out there, and they'll have a great time. I know that. And,
No, for sure.
You know, there'll be thousands and thousands, if not probably close by the time they're done. Probably 1 million people will have been made very happy and have a great time.
It's an all-stadium tour, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
So
I'll be out there. I'll find some shows to go.
Oh yeah, we'll probably roll up on the Wednesday thing together, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll go cause some trouble.
Right. Yeah. He's already insisted that we do that. So it's like, well, you know, if we're not busy with something else, we'll come.
Yeah. If we're not busy, we'll come to your 70,000 person show.
I think it's sometimes when he comes to visit me, it's a little bit of a buzzkill because I just tell him real shit.
Well, because but we've been real with him for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something
he's like, you're gonna be there? Well, I got my own bus this year. I'm like, well, you know.
He sent me a message. Said, "When are you calling me?"
I'm cool, man. I got time. You know,
when are you gonna call me? What? I'm busy. I can't call you.
I love the guy. Yeah, he lives like 4 miles from my house, but you know,
well, that's it. I think that's what he loves about us is we're bros with him, you know, and that's the fun part about it. Okay, I'll wrap it up here with my little bit, and just to make sure we get the public service announcement out, the marketing announcement about hoodies and shirts and all good things. Yeah, over there.
Mikey, we got a shirt on this other chair. I think it's a hoodie, Mikey. Is that a hoodie? I don't know. We got a bunch of hoodies and T-shirts and shit. My guest tonight will have to send me his details so I can send him one and try to get him to wear one out there on the Lumineers tours. They can
very popular photos. It's like a Where's Waldo thing, you know what I mean?
That big stupid face on the back.
You don't have to look very hard. It's
so ridiculous. I always apologize every time I hand it out like you know.
Yeah. You're gonna be like a glowfly in the night here.
Yeah. Totally correct.
No, but they're awesome. I love them. It's the fact that they are so over the top that makes them so cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you're not being subtle here. Not one little tiny bit.
It's not really what I do.
It's not an industry for subtleness.
The subtle business. Yeah.
It's not an industry for subtle.
It's working out okay though.
Don't wear it on stage if you got to like work in the background or something. That's all I'm saying, because you will be noticed.
Yeah, apparently lots of my friends, you know, I was talking to Scotty Perlman today, just got back from that thing with William Duvall, Alice in Chains over in Europe. And he just got back, and apparently he was everywhere he went, Czechoslovakia, you know, all these different, Ireland, all these different wonderful, amazing places. People kept thinking it was him on the back of his jacket, and he'd have to spend 2 or 3 minutes per stop pointing out, no.
Pulling in new fans.
This is not me, although we do look very similar.
Yeah.
You know, we roll very similar. He's a handsome man, so, you know, I'm going to...
You're going to take it.
Yeah, I'm just totally,
And let's not forget to send love out to our boy Greg Price.
Oh, Gregory Price. Okay, if you don't know who Gregory Price is Van Halen. Everybody's. This guy is. It's too hard to name his accomplishments.
Yeah, it's frightening.
It's like really like he's Ozzy, Black Sabbath, Rage Against the Machine, Smashing Pumpkins, and the list is so fucking ridiculous. It's crazy. Currently, who he was just here today with us. It was lovely to see him. He just stopped in on his way to Copenhagen because he is now the front of house guy for Metallica, which is kind of the big seat in the game. And between that and the Foo Fighters is pretty much the spot you want to land in if you're going to try for big. Yeah. And Greg Price, who's he shops with us here. He lives with us here. He just, I guess he's about 4 months into this thing. He took over for Big Mick. Big Mick finally sat his tush down after 30 years.
Yeah.
And the great Greg Price, one of the best big band mix engineers in the world, is out doing that. And he stopped in today to work out some Pro Tools stuff we had to deal with. And we gave him a big hug and a kiss and sent him on his way. And he's off to Copenhagen to put on a big 80,000 person show. So, you know, more power to him.
No one's better equipped than him to walk in on whatever.
Yeah, he's Big Daddy. It's, you know, top 3 mix engineers in the world. And just a sweet, sweet man. He's just a good guy. I cannot say enough. When I grow up, I want to be just like Greg Price.
Is he good for comp tickets?
No comp tickets, man.
Straight out of comps? Straight out of comps?
Doesn't really work like that.
All right, it was almost a perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah, you blew it a little bit at the end there, but, you know, he ain't listening to this shit anyways. He's too busy.
Yeah, right.
He don't care. But regardless, we would wish Gregory and Metallica a great tour through Europe. They're gonna friggin' kill it. Vern, it's always lovely to see you. Thanks for being here,
brother.
Let's get with it with our guests. We've killed. Oh my God, how the fuck did that happen? That was 19 minutes.
I tried to stop you 10 minutes ago. You heard it, right?
Oh my God!
Stop him 10 minutes ago. I said, I'm going to wrap it up.
I am so sorry, dude. It just happens when it's going, when it's flowing good.
Don't worry, he'll run
when
late.
It's flowing good, it just happens like that.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Okay, all right. I'm gonna Vern. Thanks. I'm gonna do this. All right, guys. I lagged on my guest this evening. He took special time to be with us, and I really, really appreciate it. This young man has come up the hard way. He has done it all. He has been Well, let's talk some interesting notables. He took over the usher residency in Las Vegas. Which, if you ever done a residency at Caesar's Palace, that is a fun gig if you can get it. He works with bands like the 1975 Queens of the Stone Age, one of my favorite bands in the world. He's mixed from the monitor engineer for Barry Manilow's band, 30 Seconds to Mars. He is currently with the Lumineers. He is one of the top up-and-coming monitor engineers in the business. His name is Francois. Help me with this. Pare.
Pare, yes.
Pare. Francois, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, they got the Canadian guy to help me sort this out. It's so wonderful to have you on. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're really good. I mean, I'm sitting here with one of my bestest friends. These people I love. My best friend. I have to get that straight. It's my only friend. Apparently, earlier we sorted that out. Man, I don't think people understand. I have those closed roadie groups, and I put up those memes, and I got this one great one where it's front of house lion and monitor lion. And the front of house lion, of course, is the one with the like coiffed hair and real pretty and perfect. And the monitor lion is the badass lion that's like sitting there like about to rip your face off. That's kind of my impression of the monitor job. It's the guy who's putting in the hard work and dealing with many ideas of what should be opposed to just one. How would you describe to folks that don't understand or exactly have a handle on it what you do for a living?
I mean, I'm the psychologist, really. I'm just
yeah.
That's what I was waiting for right out of the gate. I'm the psychologist. Yeah.
You just kind of like you have to kind of figure out what they want and just gotta do it before they ask.
Yeah.
We're definitely in the trenches. Like everything, like is it's whatever they're feeling that day. Like where front of house is the glory end. Like they just sit down, do their mix, and off you go. We just have like tons of mixes, and let's go.
What I always like to say is front of house has got 75 milliseconds to fix the shit.
Yeah.
He's got no milliseconds.
No. They're up his ass way before that.
It hasn't even happened at FOH.
I love that they're up his ass just if they're just imagining shit. And that's where the psychology comes in really strong.
Absolutely. And it's amazing how audience mics can save your ass too. Like the crowd's happening, man. You're the best. And I mean, that was the best mix ever. The crowd's not clapping, man. The ears were so bad tonight. Oh my God.
No doubt.
Makes a big difference.
That's a big point. I mentioned in the intro that you're currently out with the Lumineers.
Yes.
Now that's got to be a really fun tour. What's going on out there with those guys? I know you got a really great crew. You're working with Kevin, who currently.
Absolutely, Kevin is like is my boy. It's funny every time I introduce him, I say I'm his assistant. And he can't stand it. Which is funny, but it's a really busy gig. It's kind of refreshing because there's no track on that gig. Like it's all live. Everything you hear has been played or sang or whatever. Like it's just, and it's a lot of stuff. It's over 130 channels of stuff that's coming at you, and but like I said, everything is played and from anything, like like there's like mandolins and violins and keyboards, obviously drums. There's a few drum kits, and it's just it's definitely fun. The guys are like super nice. The crew's great. Like we have a great team. Jesse at the Sound Image and Escondidos is really looking after us and everything. And it's a really nice little tour.
We're glad it's going well. Jesse Adamson, I think, is who you're referring to. He's a hell of a guy.
Yes.
That's Brock's kid from Adamson Systems Engineering. He is, of course, an account manager with us at Sound Image. And he's your big papa, I imagine, for that tour. So, I'm sure he's keeping good care of you. I've always heard good things about his tutelage and keeping an eye on the stuff.
And like we were talking about Kevin and stuff, like it's really important for an engineer to have like a good tech, and somebody that you can rely on and just make sure that the guy, like everything's going, especially with like this particular gig where there's a lot of like vocal mic positions. There's I think it's like 19 or something like that, like around the stage.
Christ.
And they come and go, and and it's just like, so you knowing that like when the band's going in certain places, that right mic is going to be there. You just don't have to worry about it because Kevin's on it because he's so meticulous and everything. He's a superstar.
I could not agree with you more. We'll stop here for a minute and linger because Kevin, who is, if I had 15 of him, I could literally take over the world. I mean,
Well, of course.
he's just the sweetest guy. He's a professional. I've never seen him sour. I've never seen him not make it happen. And when he's not out on the road with you folks, he does some work for us here. And and it's always a good day when I've got him around. I know I don't have to worry about that end of the building, that he's got hands on it. And he does it with just a great personality and such kindness. So, I couldn't say enough about him. I'm glad you guys are out doing it together.
Yeah, and I met him like on the 1975. He was my tech there too. And then I was just like, when I met him, I was like, right, you're screwed, dude. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Wherever I go, you go.
Yeah. I totally get that. I'm not just saying that. I really do get that. Whenever I see availability and I'll be scheduling up the thing, and I know my brother does the same thing when he's scheduling up his needs. And he's got availability. Oh, we just squash him. We just take him. It's like, oh, I don't care. I just want him in the building and be around him in his energy. And he's a consummate professional.
And speaking about, because oftentimes you say, you're asking about recommendations for people getting in the industry and stuff like that.
Sure.
That's the money right there.
Yeah.
When you have someone like Francois saying, wherever I go, you go.
Yeah, that's big.
You're there. You've made it. It's super important.
Yeah, well, I'm worried that that's happening with Mikey and Gregory Price, because he's had him do a couple of his stand-in dates for him, and now Gregory loves Mikey's mix so much that I keep seeing him eyeballing Mikey like he's going to steal him from me.
Audio Jesus.
I'm going to kneecap Greg Price if I got to.
Yeah. Or ask him for comp tickets first.
That's hilarious. That's nice. I mentioned in the opening, this is a band that stands out particularly. Any of the guys here will tell you. I have whole days of music here. We put it through the house. I spent a batch of time. I met this band in '99. It was, I want to say, 98, 99 in Austin. I was out with Ween, and they were opening up. This was the great Queens of the Stone Age. Just an extraordinary band. I mean, there's nobody that does what they do. I don't know any. It's kind of like drinking, love-making music. I don't know how to put it, what they're doing, but it is cool, and it's special and unique and singular. And Josh he is prolific. What's it like working monitors for the great Queens of the Stone Age?
It was they're like, again, another bunch of like super nice guys. The gig itself is demanding in a way that they're not like super. For me, like the mixes came in pretty easy. Like it was kind of like there, like pretty much like right away. It was more the amount of cues that I had.
Oh.
So like it's not really like, it's just like, okay, so on this word he wants a little reverb here, and then he wants like a swell there, and he wants like a delay there, and it's just like, so it's really kind of, it's just very cue based. It's almost like if you're doing like a musical in a way.
Right,
like he's just like,
sure.
He's just like literally just sending stuff, and there was like a few like challenging things where the bass player Mikey has a bullet mic where we have distortion in it. So, and I mean, as soon as you open it, like it just sounds like hell in there, So it was like basically mute on words, you're just watching him and just mute and unmute like his mic just when he talks and mute that, So it becomes just really like tricky that way, like you just have to pay attention, obviously, and you start muting this while doing other swells and whatever. So it's a busy show,
I can imagine during the song Misfit Love, I bet you there's some real cue challenges there with him.
Dude, it's, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I want a girl. That whole thing. I love that song. What they do with that weird in and out, that clicky thing guitar that they do. It's
here we go.
Oh, dude, no, I'm not gonna let myself go down the rabbit hole because I love this band.
I said to Mike, here we go, fanboy.
He does. So I'm not gonna fanboy this out because I don't do this very much with a lot of bands, and I get to deal with all you guys and talk about a bunch of cool stuff, but Queens of the Stone Age for me occupy a certain lane, and I know that they can be a little challenging. And I've watched them go through a lot of lineup, and I think it's part of their chemistry, and it's part of his thing. And plus, it's always hard to work with artists that are really competent with gear. Like,
sure.
he understands the gear. He understands what can happen and what.
And actually, like a lot of like the rig I had, like like half of it was like his stuff from his studio that was in my rack. Like they brought like we brought the stuff, and that was kind of that, and like even like certain reverb, he would come in and just like dial it up and just go like, this is like you just like here it is, I didn't, and it's like cool. that's what you want, absolutely, we'll go with that. And like, yeah, it was definitely, it was fun for sure. And another refreshing band, no tracks, no click, let's just do it. Just,
yeah, they bring it
rock
for
it
real.
out.
Right on. Yeah, it's got to be a lot of fun. I got to ask you, of all the different disciplines in the industry, we got lighting and video and pyro. What made you get into audio?
I came from I was a musician first. So that's like, obviously you're a musician, you just go. And it's interesting because I was just like, I could never get the monitors right.
on your two auxes on your 200B.
So I started doing it myself. That's how I started,
No kidding.
And then I was just like, well, like and I would do the bass player, and I ended up doing the whole band behind the drums. I was playing drums at the time, and then kind of. That was years ago. Good Lord, I haven't played drums in like 20 years,
Yeah.
But back in the day, I was a session guy. That's how I started.
No kidding.
Yeah,
and you just needed to get it right, and you found that you were the best one to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now I made a career out of it.
Yeah, very cool.
And I also found like I was just like, well, you know what? It's like it's all very well being a session dude and everything, but it's just like you make more money if you're the freaking engineer.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, I totally get it. Well, there's many of the people that have come before you, including myself and him.
You can make another 10% if you want to be the road manager and production manager all at the same time.
Yeah,
a lot of hats to wear for 10%. I noticed that you had to mix mons at one of the biggest to-dos, the yearly to-dos that happens in our industry, and that's the Great Clive Davis pre-Grammy parties. I don't know if people understand. Maybe you could explain what was the Clive Davis Grammy party that you worked at like?
So that's like before the Grammy, the day before the Grammy, Clive Davis puts this event, which is basically Ricky Minor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ricky Minor's band. He used to be like American Idol's band and Tonight Show. It's a kind of a big band.
Yeah.
And they're the house band, and then you have like a bunch of A-list people that will come and sing. Like one year we had Gladys Knight. We had like I don't know, man. There's so many. There's about 22 artists every year that you do.
Yeah.
And they're all like super high profile. The whole crowd is all. It's like it is the hottest ticket on in Hollywood that night.
Oh, easy.
So like
right, but maybe that year. Yeah.
It's where you're behind the desk and you're just going like, well, if I screw this up, this is over. Like career done.
So a lot of pressure, I imagine.
Whatsoever,
Yeah.
And and so we have like a day or two of rehearsal before the show, and it's really kind of like the house band comes in. There's no sound check, man. They just sit and starts playing,
Yeah.
and and you have a serious amount of mixes. Like monitors for that is just like it's over 40 mixes.
Wow.
Wow.
It's all wedges, ears, and you just kind of get going. You've got an assistant that has a mic and just tell you what to do because you're head down just trying to get it going because there's so much going on. And basically the band will play the song twice just on their own. Then they'll say, cool, you guys got it all. And then just work out like all the kinks. They'll get the artist. They'll do 2 runs. That's you next. And then that's how your rehearsal does. Like you don't have like 3 hours, man. You just run the song twice.
Yeah.
Artist is all done. Everybody's good. Save next, and that's what's happening. And showtime, better be get going. You better be good because if not, like it's game over.
No pressure.
Well, no, I think he explained it pretty well. This is the who's who of who's who, and of course it's the great Clive Davis, who's Aretha Franklin. He's discovered everybody. So yeah, I can imagine the pressure. I didn't really think about it when I wrote that question, but yeah, I can imagine that it's got to be a pressure filled.
Yeah.
For
and there's also curveballs.
Yeah.
There's curveballs.
Yeah.
So there's one year, like one artist, like decided that at Showtime he looked at and he's like, yeah, I don't want to do it. So cool. So now he's at Showtime. He's not showing up. So now they're trying to replace him. So on comes while you're mixing. You got comes too.
Yeah.
And you hear like, okay, so I think Stevie will come and do a song. Great. No sound check. Okay. And they're like, no, scratch that. We're not going to do that. Earth, Wind, and Fire is going to come instead. Oh, of course. Like it's just like, it's like that kind of caliber.
That's a modern nightmare.
Got mixes.
Freaking Earth, Wind, and Fire roll up. That would suck.
And they're throwing them around like they're up and comers. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you won't throw Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Put the Earth, Wind, and Fire in there.
No, the last one, the last show of the last song of the last show I did was like they decided to bring everybody to just kind of sing at the end, you know?
Yeah.
And the tech was just like, I don't know. So he just basically starts throwing mics at people. Great. So now they're on stage. Who's on what?
Who's on what? Yeah.
Oh man.
I've got like 22 mics with wedges in front, and I just have no idea like who's on what.
Wow.
So now you're like soloing and going, oh, that sounds like Diana Ross. That could be, or that could be this. And then you just go, well, I think she's there.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Criminy.
And that was no sound check. It was literally like you had a box of mics and just like, here you go, man.
Wow.
Enjoy.
That's
I
crazy.
think though, it's like, you know, like they're singing along and everything and you know, like it's done in no time.
Yeah,
you know,
you figure
so
it out pretty quick. Yeah.
Sure.
yeah, and you know they're just happy to be there too. You know, so
Right. Very cool. Well, you know, this brings me around to Barry Manilow. I mentioned that you did Band Mons. Does that mean is that Ken Newman's gig? Were you out
yes,
with Ken
Ken
Newman?
Newman was front of house
Yeah.
when I did it, and then Will was the other monitor guy. So it was two of us.
Yeah.
And Will was just looking after Barry, and I just did everybody else.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Barry is very meticulous, and you know, especially a guy for his advanced age, he really knows what he wants. He's still got a great ear, and it can be very particular. So yeah, that must have been a handful doing that. And
I mean, it was fun because it was like, you know, like it's like 16-piece band.
Yeah.
You know, and just kind of 15 or 16, yeah, and you just kind of, you know, just catered everybody and just
just go. Well, tell us about your time with the 1975. I don't know much about this band, but I know that the kids really enjoy them and that they're doing well. What was it like working with the great 1975?
So 1975 is probably one of the hardest working band out there. You're never home. Like you're literally out. Like once the album cycle starts, like you will be gone. Like if you're home for a month total in the year, like you've had a good year. Like it's like you out, you know, like 4 months at a time, and you know, so they love touring. They love. It's a really good show. The designer, the show designer always has like it's almost like an art piece or whatever. Like it's always there's a lot of videos and you know like I mean it's proper kind of technology kind of you know base kind of show. I mean video fest like that thing was insane. Like it was just so much video.
Okay.
Like even like my ad, I you know on that gig I've got it's all ears. There's no wedges on stage. I've got like 4 subs, like 2 subs aside, just to kind of give them some feel, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And in front of it, they would put video, you know, on everything was just video.
Wow.
Which, by the way, for RF, not so good.
Not so good. You got all those ears.
That little thing called emissions.
All these walls of video.
Yeah, humming away.
So nice. Yeah, I can imagine that must be a little bit tricky.
But yeah, a good bunch of guys, and you know, like it's. I mean, I was there for like 2 album cycles, so you know, it was. Worldwide, kind of, good show.
Yeah, it sounds like it kept you really busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of those good problems.
That's what we're doing. You know, we're in the business to just kind of be busy and just you know work really. You know.
Yes, absolutely.
Try to keep that calendar full. You know.
Absolutely. Got to make a living.
Question for you though. You know, when you were going through talking about this, you know, some of the artists that you've worked with and some of the incredibly complex, you know, cue-based kind of stuff that you have to put together for them. Is that good for job security? I mean, like, because it seems like these things, it's not something you just hand a book to somebody and say, here you, well, maybe in the theater you do, kind of.
Yeah.
But in your situation, I mean, is that good for a callback? Because it's like they almost have to have the same guy all the time because it's like he's learned the whole thing? It helps,
I mean,
right?
yeah, it's hard to kind of, that you become like this kind of, I try to kind of in my show, like you know, like I always write loads of notes on the you know on the snapshot. Like I'm mainly a digital guy, you know, and so on my snapshot, like I always have like notes, and I always like try to keep my notes up to date. So if something happens to me, I don't know, I get sick or whatever, like at least somebody can go and say, oh, well, okay, you know, we're pretty close or whatever, you know, like. But yes, obviously, like job security, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's not hard to do, is it? It's just kind of like, well. Good luck.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I'm taking these notes here with me. And
but you know, it's a touch too. Yeah. That's the whole thing about the monitor guy is you can have the show file all day. You know, like I don't really like using other people's file just because you know, like we all have a different workflow.
Absolutely.
And, you know, like it's just, I'd rather just do it my own thing. I've got a certain style of mixing that I do, you know, like I get hired for, you know, like, but yeah, like it's just a little touch, like, you know, like when you're going to do the audience mics up and down and, or just like, you can't, you can't, you know, like it becomes you know, so you can have the file all day, but it's just like, if you don't know when I do certain things, then, and I'm pretty busy. Like sometimes I just go like, you know, I'll joke around. I'm like, you know, oh, well, you know, if I test positive, man, I mean, you're mixing, you know, and then they'll go like, no chance. I'm like, I don't do that much. Just do next, you know, and they're like, yeah, we've seen you mix, you know, and you're just like,
tour's canceled. Tour's canceled. That's it.
Too critical.
Yeah.
But actually, funny enough, on Lumineers, like the tour director was like, yeah, you know, like if you test positive, sorry, man, we're hiring a Penske, and you're in the Penske.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
and then you'll drive the next gig.
You'll drive that Penske.
It's a good way to get you to wear your mask.
It'll be the way we toured back in Canada in the day, sleeping in the back of the U-Haul while we're driving down the road.
Good times.
Exactly.
Good times. Well, you know, I mentioned that you've worked with a lot of great bands. What kind of criteria do you use to pick a project or a job when you know, you're out there, you're available? How do you pick a job? What's the criteria?
You know, I say yes to everything. I can't say no. That's the problem. I've got that problem. I just can't say no.
Yeah.
You know, the only time I say no is if I'm not available, then I'm sorry, I'm busy. You know, if not, like, I mean, and it's too bad because sometimes it's just like I'm at home, you know, going like, I've got 2 weeks off, you know, and the phone rings. Sorry, honey, I've got this gig to go do, you know, and it's just like, it's hard to say no, man, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. As you have a spouse who's understanding in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Lana is like fantastic. You know, like it's just you know, touring is not easy. You know, for any relationship and whatever. True. You know, like you have to make the effort and everything. So I make sure I call her like twice a day. You know, that's when I wake up, when I, you know, wherever I am. You know, like it's always like kind of this, like just making sure that, you know, like you keep that spark alive. Really, you know, like you just can't just like sit on it. Yeah. And just kind of say, well, I'll call you in a week, or, you know, I'll just see you when I see you. Like, that doesn't work. You know, you just like, you'll be single really quickly.
Yeah, that's from your words, your lips to God's ears. Now, and all you folks out there that are touring, you're listening to Francois, that is excellent advice. That is good advice. If you're not touring and you want to keep a good, lively relationship, just keep that spark alive. There's a work to it.
Absolutely. You know, you just kind of like, and, you know, like so 1975 was hard because obviously we were out all the time, you know?
Yeah.
So then what I would do is I would flyer, like, so if we had like multiple nights somewhere, then I'll just go, okay, he can come over here, or, you know, the bus is not good for me. I can't do the bus. Like, you know, like sharing a bunk, like, yeah, I'm a big guy, man. It's no bueno, you know? But, you know, like we had like when was that? Summer 2019, where we had like 4 days off in Lisbon, and then we had a few days off in Paris too, and in between we have a few festivals and everything, and we were all like doing private jet. So I was just like, well, this is cool. That's not going to cost like too much, you know what I mean? Because obviously, like, you don't mind spending the money. So I flew her over to Madrid, and then she just like up, and we just did like the private jet thing. And obviously, like, she'd never been on a private jet before, so she's like, oh my God, this is great. You know? And of course, then after the 2 weeks, she was there for about 2 weeks, and she was like, you know, I couldn't do this, man. I'm so tired. I'm like, I know. It's like, you know, it's a holiday, but it's not really, because we're working. Yeah. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, but like for her, it was kind of a holiday, and she loves festivals and everything. So she was like, you know, going to see bands and whatever, you know?
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun. I've noticed that there was a time in your career, earlier in your career, probably a better part of 10, 12 years ago, when you were out front of house for a batch of bands. Did you make a concerted, like, I don't know, push to be in monitors? Did you have a preference for monitors, or do you one way or the other? For monitors versus front of house?
I started kind of like I was saying, like I was a musician, whatever, and then I started working for like companies, regional companies in England. I was in England at the time, and they always put me at front of house most of the time and everything. So I was doing front of house and everything, and then I started touring. And when I started touring, I was more like, intensively. I started like front of house, and then one tour, it was this little kind of how do you call it? They were like a crewing company kind of thing. They were like, well, you could do front of house, but like the main artist needs a monitor guy.
Right.
So I'll tell you what, we'll put you as our monitor guy, and then you can do front of house for the other band. So I was like, all right, I guess, I'll do both, and I got known as the monitor guy. And then after that, it was just like, yeah, he's really good on monitors. And that was me, man. I was just like, yeah, cool. I got known as that, and then now the phone doesn't ring for front of house ever, dude. It's all monitors.
Well,
That's fine, like at first I was just like kind of like, well, yeah, I'm a front of house guy that does sometimes monitors, and I was just like, you know what? No, you're you're a monitor guy.
Yeah.
Just embrace it.
yeah, it sounds like the industry sees you like a firefighter. You're putting out the squelch in the fires, making good things happen on stage.
And now I don't really, nah, you know what? Front of house is not for me.
You're not feeling it.
I like monitors, it's just
only
kind of
one
like,
mix.
yeah,
Boring.
It's not boring. One mix. Yeah.
But even like if you look at like all the bands I do, like it's all like high channel count,
Yeah.
and like it's just like they're busy gigs, like
you're
if I
working.
had to do like if I had to go to front of house for a DJ, man, I'd be like, oh my god,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
but this is
Might
gonna
shoot
be
yourself in the
painful.
face or something. Yeah, no, I totally get that. No, it
You know,
sounds like you're a guy that likes to be busy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, it's just like let's get stuck in and just do the gig. Like it's something kind of cool too. Like you're on stage and you kind of you vibe with the band. Well, not so much. I mean, I'm just a service, really. To be honest, like I'm not like I think whatever they need. Like there's creativity to a certain degree, but not much. Like it's really like you're trying to provide what they need to perform,
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
give a good show, really. You're not there to kind of just like, ego has to stay at the door, man. You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You have to you have to kind of just say, you're a service, basically. That's basically what you are,
No, I have to remind the guys that once in a while, too. We're a service provider. We provide talent, skilled people, and gear. And, that's what we do. And the goal is to come back and do it again. So, go
Yep.
be a good professional and provide the service and do your best. And that's usually how we get more work.
Well, it's a very specific
Absolutely.
job. I mean, he's got specifics because he's in the artist's head, and the artist
Yes.
is communicating with him directly. Where the front of house guy is taking whatever's coming through the snake and translating it to the audience. So he's got a lot of freedom to bury himself sometimes, but he's got all that freedom out front that Francois doesn't get, because he's connected straight to the artist, and that's where the psychology comment comes from.
Yeah. And it also a big critique. I mean, like these guys are critical because it's like, well, today, and also, like how you feeling affects how you hearing.
Exactly.
So true.
You're happy, man, like it's good. But if you're sad or if you are under the influence or whatever, like you're hearing differently. So now, like, oh my God,
Here we go.
you can go to this rabbit hole going like, I don't know what the hell they're thinking about. No idea.
Yeah.
Or if they had a fight before the gig, like you don't know. You were not in the dressing room. You have no idea.
They just want to take it out on somebody.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, usually, who is it?
Right. Big
I'm
old
the
target.
guy.
Big old target.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And he's a larger guy. He's not a small guy, so they can see him.
I saw Marilyn
They can
Manson
get him.
stomp the buttons off a monitor console one night, and it was quite the
special-
event. I've never
special
seen anything
artist.
like it. I mean, the guy literally had half the knobs left on the board by the time he was done. It was
Oh
insane.
my God.
It was insane. Yeah. Just because he was pissed off about something.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, but it might not be about what it's also, like you've got like the artist that just takes an ear out,
Yeah.
yeah.
and you just go, oh man, I wish you would.
Yeah. No,
And
I just saw a drummer do this, and he pulled him because he couldn't hear anything. And so
Right.
his drum tech got up behind him, and he's also working off a click track. So the drummer, so his nothing's getting resolved at Mons. So his drum tech went up and started tapping him on his calf along with the click track.
Wow.
And it was,
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that on YouTube or something. I
Yeah.
was just like, oh my God.
that's
crazy.
going the extra mile right there.
That's going the extra mile.
It is, but now you would think though, no disrespect, but I was just like, you can hear it on your ears.
Yeah.
Why don't you just give him a spot? Like, just plug it in.
Who the hell knows what was going on in that moment? But I thought it
Well,
was
yeah,
very
you don't know.
unusual. No two ways
You
about
know.
that.
It was kind of cool though. I mean, you got to see like, well, this guy's tapping his leg, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was one way to get around it, and I guess they made it work. Speaking of, I was gonna trail off of the ego comment, but 30 Seconds to Mars. This is Jared Leto's band,
Oh,
correct?
Yes.
Yes. What was it like working with those guys? You know that he can be very particular.
Yeah, pretty particular. Yeah, that was a good way of saying it. He was definitely, a bit more difficult. But again, I'm a service provider with a smile.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of. I lasted a long time. I did 2 years with him. Yeah, no, and at the end, it was just basically like there was a long break, and when they called back, I was on Menelo, so I was just kind of, I'm so sorry, I can't. I'm somewhere else, like it's not like didn't get fired or anything like that. It was definitely challenging, it was interesting because you hear all these stories or whatever, and it's like I'd say like out of the 2 years, like the first year, like I didn't even have no request from anybody. It was literally like I was just sitting there going like, well, just do my show, and it was like everything was great, like I think probably in the whole 2 years I probably had like 4 really bad shows.
Okay.
Where it was like, but other than that, like it was like, and even the bad shows were not really like not my fault or anybody's fault. It was, again, it's just,
One of those
emotions. Yeah, but no, it was, in a way, I'm kind of thankful because it was kind of a break for me, to be honest, like before that, and, like I'd done bands and whatever, but that was like a bigger band, and it's just like, well, not so in the US, they might not be as big as other bands, but like outside the US, they're pretty massive.
Yeah, they do pretty well. Yeah, that's for sure.
But it's pretty much it was pretty much a pet project of his, right? Like it wasn't.
Yeah, it's him and his brother, really. Like. Yeah. They're the main 2 guys. When I did it, it was like a 3-piece plus a session guy. Now it's just really like him, his brother, and the session guy. The guitar player is gone, But yeah, no, it was kind of interesting. It's just it was fun. They have a very interesting fan base.
There's some diehard loyal people.
Oh yeah, like absolutely. And it's interesting though. I don't understand how these people can like afford it.
Yeah.
Like they're like guys that like you do a world tour, they're there every night.
Jeez.
Like
I saw this with Grateful Dead, and that group of folks, which are even more which would seem financially challenged, and they would show up regardless. They would, I did 12 shows with them, and it was the same 12 crowds. It was extraordinary. I don't know. How
but when you do 2 years and the first 2-3 rows of the any gigs is the same people, you just go, oh my God, I'm getting paid for this. You're not. Like you're paying for this. That's like insane.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. There's I don't know, some group of young people out there apparently got really solid credit cards. Who knows how that works?
They were doing that with the DJ that I did a bunch of stuff with, Bass Nectar. He had
got
the
a pretty
same
dire
crowd.
following.
Like it didn't matter where he went. It was always the
That's
same people.
so nuts to me, man.
Yeah. Kids.
Then and in that case, why just not do a residency and everybody can go? You just open a new city.
Yeah.
Like you kind of like, you could be, I don't know,
Build your own casino.
Whatever, and it's like, well, there you go. Like, here's my, like, and then it's like your people just come, and that's you.
Right. Yeah. They all build alike houses in their little neighborhood, in their cul-de-sac.
30 Seconds to Mars, the Village.
The Village. Right. M. Night Shyamalan movie.
They started doing after I left, like they do like this camp thing where they'll have like, all their fans will come and they do like a 3-4 day kind of like, like a camp kind of thing, like, and the band will play like concerts every night and they do activities during the day. It's like summer camp, but I think it's called Camp Mars.
No kidding.
And, they do that every year. I don't know if they're still doing it now, but like, I mean, like when I left, like I heard after that they did it a few times. It's just like another way of making money, I guess,
Yeah, very interesting.
It sounds like he's got some affinity for his fans. Because I know some bands that can't do another minute.
The
shows that they offer.
Yeah, because Jared needs the money.
You never know. Maybe it's his brother.
Yeah.
Who knows? I got to ask you, when as much as you tour, what's something that you enjoy to do on your dark days, on days when you're out in Paris or wherever, and the band's not gigging, you got some time to yourself. Do you run off and go find a good eats, or you go look at architecture? What's your idea of a good
Well,
way
so
to
I used to be really into food, and obviously I got really big. So now I'm trying to lose weight, and I'm actually pretty successful right now. So I'm doing pretty good. So I'm trying to avoid the food thing. But no, actually, before the pandemic, I was really close to the end. I was like kind of jaded, and I'd be like the guy that just kind of go in and just go to the same spot and just stay in the hotel room or whatever, And then I was like, pandemic came. I was just like, man, I miss touring, like I need to kind of, So now I'd made myself like on the tour, like every day off, like we do an activity. Doesn't matter what it is. We got to do something, So like today we did Top Golf,
I saw that.
Top Golf.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah. Or like we'll go see a movie, or the other day in Cincinnati we went to see a baseball game. We rented bikes. We went like out, like from Cincinnati because we had 2 days off. First day we had like the baseball game. The second day we just took some city bikes and we went to like Kentucky and just like bike and just to do something, like just go see the place. I also like running too. So obviously right now my knee is kind of all screwed up, so I can't really run. But that's a good way of like seeing the city too. You just go for a little run, like you just kind of just go see the place, just you have to. We're fortunate enough in touring to be able to see the world. Just go see the world. Don't stay in the hotel room and just like I'm gonna go for a nap.
And do online video shows and stuff like that. Jeez.
I totally get it. I love looking at back in my time it was the architecture. Huge fan of the architecture.
Absolutely.
Places, one of my guests or one of our commenters is asking, what was your favorite band to work for? I'm not sure if that's an answerable question.
No, because every band has like things that you love about it, I'm really fortunate enough to like most band I've worked with, the crew has always been like great. Like, like I can't really think of a tour that like where like, like there's always like maybe like a guy or two, but like
sure.
Like right now, like I mean, Lumineers, man, is just like, it's a big family, like everybody is like so nice, and so actually, Lumineers is like the first band that actually the singer just invited us to his house and cooked for us, like a few times.
That's great.
And that just doesn't happen often, man. It really doesn't, He texts and everybody, like we're not talking just like the core crew, like Kevin came and everybody, like it was just movie nights, like during rehearsal or whatever, and it's like that doesn't happen a lot, man. These guys. They're definitely special,
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, the young people coming up that are watching us, we're getting close on our time, but what advice do you have for young people coming up in the industry? Anything you'd tell them that would be a good rule of thumb on how to be in this world?
Just, like, I'd say 50% of the gig is the skills and the 50% is the hang. You need to know what you're doing, but you need to know how to hang too.
Yeah.
Because like if you can't hang, then you're just not gonna work, are you?
That's a simple fact.
It's true.
You just have to fit. Like it's just be friendly and be professional, but also, a good advice too. Like don't get too close to the band.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
The band is your employer.
That's right.
Like at the end of the day, like they're nice and everything, but they're still your employer. Like, like if you were working at the example Amazon. Like, are you going to be like friend with Jeff Bezos? No.
If I wasn't working at Amazon, I wouldn't be friend with Jeff Bezos.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
I get it. I totally
know what you're
get
saying.
it.
He couldn't help himself.
At the end of the day, like your band is your CEO.
Yeah.
Like,
and if you don't realize that, somebody's going to end up telling him or her eventually, their manager.
You're going to realize it the hard way when they come to do that hard part of their job.
Yeah, they're going to draw the lines.
And then you're going to attach some emotions to it that shouldn't be attached.
Exactly, yeah.
And
exactly,
And that's the survival part of it.
Yeah,
it's not allowing
you ain't
like,
the rock star.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not saying like you don't be friendly or anything like that. It's more like just don't, just like you have to know that line.
Show neutrality,
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. That's good advice. It's good advice.
Very good advice.
Where can the people see you next, my friend? What are you up to next?
Well, I'm still in Lumineers, so I think tomorrow we're in Detroit, and then we're going to be in Toronto for a couple of days.
Nice.
And it's all the whole summer, like we're finishing our shed part of it. And I think we go home on the 21st of June, and then we go back out the 2nd of July. We fly again, and now it's the arena part of our tour. So it's gonna be just arena stress. It's kind of nice though. Like there's no festival this year really. We've got a couple of festivals, but it's not like the usual summer. You go to Europe and you just spend the whole summer in festival, like which is lovely too, because obviously you get to like see all the other guys and the other bands and stuff. It's always nice,
Sure.
But I I also kind of like the whole like summer of just let's do arenas and just like it's our own show.
Stay
Just
out of
like
the heat.
Yeah, well, yeah, have a little more control of your atmosphere. Have a little, I can definitely do that.
I love arenas. This is like kind of like where I am. I really like. There's guys that love the sheds. Some people like love the stadiums. I love clubs. I like arenas. Like that's my thing.
I think that you can probably get the best sound manipulation going
Consistency,
on there.
Consistency.
That's a good point. My friend,
consistency is key.
Yeah. It's been an absolute treat to have you on. I know you're a very busy man. I appreciate you reaching out to us. We, of course, hope that your knee heals up soon and completely and that you're feeling better, get back to running. Would you please send our love to Kevin Hu? He is a dear friend and a great man. And we want to thank you for coming on and sharing your experiences with our audience.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Francois.
Thanks.
You travel safe, my friend. Be well.
Thank you. Have a good time.
You too, buddy. Bye-bye. Well, that was absolutely delightful. What a sweet guy.
Well.
And, of course, it's always wonderful to have you in the mix, my dear brother.
Lining them up, don't you?
Yeah. If I can and you're available next week, will you come back and hang out with me while we talk to the great Ed Hall? Excuse me, I have a little frog in my throat. Where is my name? It's Ken Hall next week from the Universal Studios Audio. He's done a whole bunch of stuff, and he's a big hulk of a man that's got some interesting political leanings. I think he'll have a lot of fun on our show. Let's come and tell us what he does over there for Universal Studios, and we call him the audio god because he gets the big sound, gets it done. We're going to do that next Thursday at 7 p.m. If you're available, will you come hang out with us?
Yeah. We'll have your people call my people.
I'll have my people call your people, and we'll see what happens. If they all get along real nice, maybe we'll see again.
The payola is always good on this show, I find.
Well, I try my best to keep you satiated. Like that word. See what I did there?
Yeah, as your only friend.
Yeah, I just have the one.
Yeah.
So
only true friend, anyway.
Yeah.
Just backstabber.
Thank you for being here tonight, you guys. We have Ken Hall next week. I want to thank my crew and everybody. Thanks, George Edwards and the great Dave Shadone and Jesse Amson, the good people at Sound Image. Let me do this. We do it once a week when we can, the best we can. Next week, we'll have Ken Hall. We'll be back at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday. Until then, you guys behave out there. Be good. You know what to do. We'll talk to you next week. Good night.
I am.